Good day, everyone. Welcome to my YouTube channel, Chess with CZXA. If you're a new viewer, please hit the subscribe button and the notification bell. If you're an existing subscriber, please hit the notification bell so that I can get notified when I drop new content. Well, in my previous videos, I've thought about the names of the pieces on this board, and I also thought about how to arrange the pieces on this board. Like I said, the part of the board that starts with A to H in its normal form, like A B C D to H, it's for the white parts, and then the other part of the board is for the black parts. And if you notice, it starts from letter H. Okay, without wasting time, I'll be talking about how each and every piece on this board moves. First of all, before I start, I would mention the names of the pieces again so that you can get familiar with it. Like the frontliners are the pawns. We have 8 pawns in total: 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and 8. And then we have the rook or the castle. We have the knight, which has the shape of a horse. We have the bishop. This is the bishop. We have the queen, which sits next to the king. The queen is always on letter D, while the king is always on letter E. We have the bishop again, the knight, and then the rook. So now, how do each and every one of these pieces move? Let's start with the pawns. We have 8 pawns, meaning as the white player, which always starts the game of chess, you have 8 possible moves from the very beginning. Okay, more than 8 even, more than 8. So let's say with the pawns, if you want to start with the pawns, you have 8 possible moves. Now, how do the pawns move? The pawns, they move forward. That's how they move. But now, their first move, as they are arranged like this now, their first move, they can take 2 steps at a time. For instance, if you're opening with the pawn on E2 to E4, it can go 2 moves for a start. 2 moves for a start, but after then, it goes only 1 at a time. I will repeat myself again. For their first move, you can either choose to take 2 at a time. Any of the pawns, you can either choose to take 2 at a time, or you choose 1. It's your choice. But after you've moved that pawn, you can only move it 1 step at a time, and they move forward in a straight line. That's how they move. So now, how do the pawns capture? For instance, let's say you opened with E4 and your opponent opened to D5. You can capture slantly. They capture slantly. Yeah, they don't capture when they face, like when they are against each other, like when they are blocking their paths. For instance, let's say you opened with E4, and then your opponent blocks your pawn. You can't capture, and automatically this pawn can't move because he's being blocked by this other pawn. Unless this pawn was here, that's when you can capture. So they capture slantly or diagonally. That's how they capture. They don't capture straight. So if a pawn blocks you, you can't move again until you get rid of this pawn. Maybe by bringing assistance from maybe the knight or another pawn to, pave way for this your pawn to move. So now we know how they move and how they capture. They capture slantly. They don't capture straight, they capture slantly. So if it's like this, the black too can either, if it's the black's turn to play, the black can capture the white piece. Or if they were both like this, the black can't capture the white piece. That's for the pawn. So now we go for the rook. Pardon me, let me clear the board. After the pawns, I need to clear the board for me to make perfect reference on what I'm saying. Now for the rook, how do the rook move? The rook moves vertically and horizontally for as many squares that are available. Now for instance, this rook is on a1. It can move from here to h1. So far as there's space, he can move. He can move from here to here. He can move from here to here. But the rook never moves in a doesn't move the movements like that of the bishop. We'll get to that of the bishop, but for now the rook moves vertically and horizontally. So let's say the black pawn was here, the rook could easily capture it. The rook can't capture a pawn that is like this because it doesn't move diagonally. So unless the pawn is here, the rook can capture. If the pawn is here, the rook can capture. So the rook moves vertically and horizontally. So anywhere, it can be one box, but it moves vertically and horizontally. The rook doesn't move diagonally or slantly. The rook doesn't move this way. It only moves in straight lines, vertically or horizontally. We are done with that of the pawn and the rook. So let's move over to the knight. The knight has a very tricky movement. The knight is always on b1 for the white pieces and g1. So how do the knights move? They move in an L shape of 3 boxes. For instance, the knight can come here. Now how does it move? 1, 2, 3. It can also come here. 1, 2, 3. That's how the knights move. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. Any box, which other box again can you spot? It can come here. 1, 2, 3. It can also come here. 1, 2, 3. The knights can move forward and backwards like every other piece. The only piece that can move backwards are the pawns. They are like forward ever. They can't move backwards. So the knights move in an L shape. 1, 2, 3. That's how it moves. 1, 2, 3. Just like that. 1, 2, 3. So any movement. So automatically this knight here is covering. It can come to this place. 1, 2, 3. It can come here. 1, 2, 3. It can come here. 1, 2, 3. It can come here. It covers a lot of squares. It can also come here. So there are a lot of squares the knights can go to. And how do the knights capture? For instance, the knight was here and there's a pawn here. It can easily capture it because it's in a L. It lands in the L spot like 1, 2, 3 to capture the piece. So that's how the knight captures. So when it lands on that piece, you have captured the black's piece. That's that for the knight. Now over to the bishop. We have 2 bishops. We have the light square bishop, as you can see. We have the light square bishop. We have the dark square bishop. Now the light square bishop sits on the light square while the dark square bishop sits on the dark square. Now the bishop can't move out of its square. What do I mean by that? This light square bishop can't move to the dark square, and this dark square bishop can't move to the light square. Now how does the bishop move? It moves in a slant. It moves diagonally. So this bishop that is here, it can move here. It can move here. For those of us that plays draft or checkers, it moves like a king in checkers. It can go to any box as far as there's space for it. So it can come here. It can come here. And come here. It just follows the white line. Likewise, the dark square bishop, they can move as far as there's space, just like that. So that's how the dark square bishop moves as far as there's space. So how do they capture? For instance, let's say this knight was here and this bishop was here, it's white's turn to play. The bishop could easily move and capture this knight. So that's how the bishop moves. Over to, I think we have talked about all exempting the king and the queen. The queen is next. Sorry for being clumsy. The queen is next. Now the queen is the most powerful piece on the board because she can move like the rook and the bishop put together. She can go anywhere she wants, both diagonally, horizontally, vertically. As far as there are spaces for her to land, she can move like the rook from here to here. She can move slantly. She can move vertically and horizontally. Anyhow she wants to move, she can move. The only movement she can't emulate on this board is that of the ninth, because the ninth moves in an L shape. She can't do that. For every other move, she can. Like I said, she's like a combination of the rook and the bishop. So she moves like the both of them. She's like a combo of the two. So anyhow she wants, she moves, and that's what makes her the strongest piece on this board, because covering a lot of squares means a lot in the game of chess. So over to the king. The king. Now this game is just all about him. The game is all about him. You can't let your king die. You can't let your king to be captured. That's what the game of chess is about. You can't sacrifice any other piece, be it the most powerful piece, which is the queen, the rook, the bishop, your pawns, your knights, every other thing, but your king can't die. Your king can't die. And the king is the laziest piece on this board. He's the laziest. He depends on others to actually protect him. He can't actually do much himself. Like I said, he's always placed on the letter E. So how does the king move? He moves like the queen. He can go in any direction but one box at a time. So he can go here, he can go here. If he's here, he can go here. If he's here, he can go here. So let's assume this is his position now. He can go to any of these boxes or one place at a time. Can go to any of these boxes. So if he moves here, you can go to any of these boxes, one place at a time. Well, I think I've covered for all the pieces on the board. If you have any questions, please drop it on the comment section, or in the comment section rather. Sorry for the mistake. Drop it there. I would attend to your question. And then if you have not subscribed to my channel, please endeavor to do so, please. That way you're encouraging me to keep doing what I do. Chess is all I know. I enjoy playing chess. I enjoy teaching chess. So like I said, if you have any question, drop it in the comment section. Thanks. See you some other time.